All right, guys, welcome back to the channel today. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you're new here, glad you stopped by. Maybe think about going and subbing to the channel. Leave us a comment on the videos. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Today I thought I'd do just a little quick review on this 21 Himalayan. You guys can go back and look at some of the older videos on it. My wife actually got it for me for my birthday, and it was a great present. And I've got just over 2,500 miles, right at 27 and some change, and just a little over a year of ownership. I would have ridden it a whole lot more throughout the year, but I got a couple other bikes, and you know, I tried to share the love around on them. So, but anyway, I just wanted to do like a little brutally honest video today of this bike. Overall, I'm really happy with it. It's exactly what I expected it to be. I did a lot of research on it before, you know. I was surprised with it. I was thinking about getting it, and she went ahead and got it for me for my birthday. So shout out to an awesome wife. Hard to beat that. But anyway, just no holes barred. We'll just go over it really good. We'll walk around it and I'll show it to you. But overall, this has been a great bike. I use this analogy a lot, and not just everybody in the world has driven an old Ford F-150 with a inline six, 300 inline six. But if you have, this is kind of what this bike is. Torque for days, pulls anything like a tractor, goes up hills, does anything it needs to be, but not really fast at it. So if you want a bike to rip around on and ride wheelies and, you know, things like that, it's really not the bike for that. It's slow, definitely slow. Top speed, I have had it up to like 82, so it's not super fast, and it's comfortable at 65 or 70. I'd say 65 for sure, but it doesn't turn a whole lot of RPM, so it's not really like a rocket ship on the highway. So this bike is good for the backcountry, for the back roads of America, off-road, to do the BDRs on, things like that. I would personally, for me, I'm short, a little short, and I'm not really a huge guy like stocky or anything, and it's a little bit heavy for me, but it's just because of my frame probably. So for me, it's not really great for super technical single track, or, you know, which an adventure bike really isn't made for that anyway. But some things that we ride local, I need to take the DR or the CT on, just for the sheer fact that it'll just wear you out crossing logs and stuff on it. So forest service roads, BDRs, old logging roads, things like that. Now I'll say this, Cody and I rode it last winter to a place that we'd been to a few times that has a lot of fire breaks, and it's pretty rough and rutted, and it did excellent there. But it's a wide road, you know, it's a 2-track for a Jeep, and it had some jumps in it, and I have a video. I'll try to link it below for you guys, or put it up here in a card. It absolutely took the jumps like a motocross bike. I was completely shocked. Cody was hitting some jumps and wheeling over them, and it just made me want to keep up with them, and it soaked up the jumps. I was shocked. I even said it in the video, I couldn't believe it. But it's got really good suspension for a heavier bike. I think it's 430 maybe, or something like that. But yeah, I have really zero complaints about the rideability. Even though it's slow, it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to kind of get out on the trail and stop and check out the scenery and go camping and have something that would carry all the camping gear, and it's absolutely perfect for that. You know, it's just a good all-around machine. But like I said, if you want to rip the trail up and ride wheelies halfway down the trail, you know, something like a KTM or something's going to be what you want, you know, or you know, just anything that's fast and lightweight would be more apt, you know, more for that, for going out on the trail and doing the single track and stuff. But let's walk around this thing, check it out. Like I said, this is going to be brutally honest. I have some things that I've done to it that I want to show you, and I have a couple of things, if I can remember them all, that might get on my nerves just a little bit. But the bike's $5 grand, brand new. And like I said, overall, it's a good machine. So let's walk around it. I'll show you what I've attached to it, what I've done to it. It's really fairly stock, other than exhaust and stuff. But let's go around it so I don't forget anything. And again, guys, ride along. Appreciate you coming by the channel. We got a ton of good stuff coming, so appreciate it. All right, just so we cover everything, let's start at the back, and we'll work our way around, and I'll show you everything I did, and then maybe I'll hit the pros and cons, okay? All right, so this is Royal Enfield from India's pannier rack. I have a video below that I did when I pretty much first got the bike. I hung these on there. They fit great. I have no complaints. They serve their purpose. They work really good. This top rack holds I have a 60-liter dry bag. It holds it perfectly. There's no way I can complain about any of that. And a little PSB Adventures shameless plug there. All right, so the rear brakes. The rear brakes work great, but they're noisy. Unless you're really getting down on them, I guess those pads are metallic, and you're gonna get some squeaking out of that. I've been thinking about taking them off and putting some shims behind them, or possibly putting some stop squeal that's in the spray can. So that's but they don't not stop you. They do fine on the stop. And now here we go, this factory tire. This is the Seat 120/90/17. This come factory on the bike. This tire only has 2,700 and change on it, and it's done. I mean, now let me say this, the tire did pretty good when it had tread on it on the trail. I didn't ever really have it slip around too much. Me and Cody went on some pretty rough, nasty stuff with red mud and all that good stuff, but it's done. And to me, it's probably been, I'm gonna say at least 60-70% on dirt. So I don't really think it should have wore out in 2,700, but you know, it's probably soft. It's a factory tire. In the automotive industry, factory tires don't last as long as when you buy one. But I think I'm gonna get a D606 for it, Dunlop, and or possibly a little bit different one, but I've had some good luck out of that 606 on the DR. So, but anyway, only negative on it so far on the tire is just the wear. It did just fine in the kind of terrain I drove it in, no big deal there. Now the battery from the factory on this bike, and it could be the EFI system on it, drains it down after about 3 weeks of it just sitting. So I did add this SAE plug to it, which doubles as a harness for my air compressor. I have that little Dynaplug air compressor that works really good, but I just put a tender on it when it's going to be sitting, or try to ride it at least once every 2 weeks or something. So no biggie on that. Now this stock exhaust that was on this bike was fine. It had a good tone, but I'm kind of a sucker for a little bit more. This is a good mellow, low decibel, but still a good sweet tone. Come with a full exhaust. It was super easy to install, super quality. It just fit right on there. I'm really proud of it. The clamps are really good in quality. This Delcovic, just overall just a good, easy install, and it really helped the power of the bike, I feel like, all over. Maybe even possibly a little bit of torque, but definitely a little bit up top for sure. So of course these are factory. You can they have some threaded bolts underneath this ledge right here that you can up underneath here you can mount fuel tanks or pannier bags, anything you want to. So this fuel tank, I'll say that I'm glad it's big. It holds a lot of fuel, 4 gallons I think. The drawback to it is if you let it run really low, the float will get stuck and it'll stick in the low position, and it takes it absolutely forever to you got to hit bumps and stuff like that to get it to come back up. But you know, it's no big deal. One time I had to put a hook down in there and actually pull it back up because it really got stuck. So I just try to fill it up before it gets less than 1/4 of a tank if I can. I've kind of got the mileage figured out, but this bike's getting close to 75 miles a gallon, which, I mean, that's pretty doggone good. If it's got a 4-gallon tank, you got a pretty good range there. So I'm pretty proud of that. Mechanically, far along in servicing the bike, it's super easy. I haven't had any problems with that. I did an NGK plug in it, iridium plug. I read that would help the idle some, and then I adjusted the valves at 300 miles like the book said, and then of course changing oil on it super easy. I've got an oil change video as well. I'll link up top. But yeah, so far long as, you know, someone that owns it and wanting to maintain it themselves, I got no complaints. It's super easy to work on. I took the tank right off, got it out of the way, and did the valve adjustment like nothing. So I did, while we're on the tank, I will say that some of my friends that own one and other people have had fuel pump issues. Now the fuel pump is right down here. Let me get my flashlight and I'll show you guys. So you could just take the tank off and take 4 bolts out and get the pump out of there. It's super easy. I'm thinking about trying to come up with a Denso, and if I do, I'll let you guys know what part number it is. But that's a Cayenne fuel pump from the factory, and their track record just isn't good right now. So let's move up here to the bars, guys. Of course, I did the quad lock, hold my phone, and I early on did a USB charger from Amazon, and I can link that below as well. This thing has worked really good for off-road, and this one particular one's hooked straight to the battery. You just have to make sure you turn it off or kill the battery. But I just keep my USB cord here handy, and you can just plug it right to the phone. You know, no big deal, nothing major about that. So this works really well, and this is basically a huge washer that I bent and drilled and mounted straight to this dashboard, and that just gives that a good place to bolt to. I was thinking about just zip tying it up there, but and this, like I said, straight to the battery. This instrument cluster on this bike is really cool. Back before I ever owned a Himalayan, I used to watch Itchy Boots Ride, and I'm like, what is all that stuff on the dash? Just so much going on. The compass, you might as well just put a sticker over it or something. It's completely worthless. You know, I hate to rag on electronics, but this thing, if you had to rely on this, you'd be going in circles. It just never has worked. I don't know what's up with it. I thought about maybe taking this apart someday and putting a clock here, or maybe oil pressure, oil temperature or something. I don't know. But anyway, the rest of the gauges work good unless the fuel gauge hangs up. Now, the only other issue with the cluster, right down in this area, if you ride when it's cold and your bike's been in a warm garage, this is gonna fog up some right here. And then, I mean, it dries right back out. Who cares? It's not a big deal to me at all. I don't care. But I did see a guy take this apart and take one of those desiccant bags like comes in a package, or maybe a pair of shoes or something. You know, it has the silica gel in there, or the powder, whatever it is. He took it apart and put it inside this. It looked really easy to do. So that's something you could do or think about doing. But I'm not going to complain about that little bit of fog that gets in there. I mean, you know, like I said, it's a $5,000 bike. Now, my biggest gripe of this machine, and it's probably my height, but wind used to come off of the top edge of this and end up right in my face, right through the helmet, and actually would move the helmet around so much that it was almost impossible to bear. I mean, it was just terrible. Buffeting, they call it. And I ended up taking the windshield off and moving it around and doing all kinds of crazy things, and I never could deal with it. I just finally oh well, it's just part of the bike. So one day we were going for a ride, me and John and Cody, and stopped by John's place because he's an artist, and I had him drill me another hole right up here. So basically from this back hole, I just moved up a width of the hole and just enough to keep you know, you could slot it if you wanted to. This one stayed the way it is. And that allowed this windshield to rock back like this. Now, you're gonna have a gap here, but who cares? I mean, a lot of bikes don't even have, you know, they don't even have anything there. So you could put some foam tape here. They make some foam tape to stick you on one side, or you could put some of that door edge mold in here if you wanted to. Now, I've heard a lot of people saying they're correct about this. The drawback of rocking this back is if you get hand guards, they're gonna hit the windshield right there, because it's already like really close to it. You can see that. But it's not a big deal for me. If that comes down to hitting, then I don't mind notching this. And Hitchcock's, I think, in the UK has a really good windshield that's either taller or shorter that would probably take care of a lot of that. Biggest gripe about the bike, that thing at highway speeds was just crazy, almost unbearable. So front brakes, I see a lot of people complain that it takes a lot more effort than they wished it did. for me, they're fine. I don't have any issue with the front brakes. You just have a little bit of pedal effort, you know, but I have no gripes about that at all. This front tire is lasting like crazy. You can see this is how the rear tire started out, you know, and so I'm probably going to go through 3 rear tires to the front, 1 front, but that's no biggie. And there's a drain plug to get the oil out of it. Really simple. I have an oil change video as well. So the chain's done really well. I've only had to adjust it 1 time, and it really didn't absolutely need it, but I just was servicing it one day and thought I'd tighten it up a little bit. The air filter's pretty easy to get to. I hadn't never really cleaned it because it's, you know, it's been clean. Hadn't had to do anything with that. And the only other thing that some people complain about this machine is it's cold natured. Now, a lot of people adjust the TPS and do all kinds of different things like that, and I do think that that doing the TPS will definitely help it. Let's start it up here. Now, I already rode it up from the house, so, but you can hear just a little bit cold nature till it gets warmed up, and it will stall a couple of times, but it's only ever stalled on me once or twice when it's ice cold, every so often. It doesn't do it every time. It does it more than it does, you know, it does it more than not, I guess I should say, but who cares? I mean, I've had carbureted bikes my whole life. It's not a big deal. But you can hear this Delcovic. It's got a good sweet tone. I hope the camera picks it up pretty good. It's not super loud, but yeah, a lot of people really complain about that stall when it's cold, but it never has stalled on me out on the road, so it's no big deal. But I might adjust the TPS one day if it starts getting on my nerves, you know. But neat little oil cooler here, and decent skid pan if you're not going to go over huge rocks, but you might want to upgrade this. I do think I want to put some crash bars on it eventually, but yeah, I don't want to just keep wearing you guys' ears out, but this is really exactly what I expected. It's $5,000 brand new. I can't just sit here and pick it apart all day. It's overall slow, torquey, but this is tough to explain. You'd probably just have to ride it. There's something about this machine, and it's kind of like if you did know what a 400 or 306 cylinder in a Ford was like, then you'd kind of get it. You can put it in 5th gear, do 20 miles an hour, and just chug along. There's no way for me to tell you about it without somebody getting on it and riding it. That part is going to be tough to explain. But there's just something about this machine that's like no other. It draws you to it. It wants you to ride it. The seat's comfortable. It's a little soft for some people, and it pushes you forward just a little bit on downhills. But, you know, like I said, overall, there's something that makes me want to... I look at the 3 bikes sitting there, and I'm like, you know what? I want to ride the Himalayan today. It's just a good, solid, good trail bike, you know, for Forest Service roads, not necessarily small trails, but it's just overall a really good machine, and I'm really glad I own it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. You know, it's just been a good machine so far, 2,500, 2,700 miles in. So, yeah, overall, I'm happy with the machine. You know, I can't sit here and, like I said, pick a really inexpensive bike apart that absolutely has done everything I've asked it to do. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. I appreciate each and every one of you stopping by the channel. Like I said, if you're new here, go down there, hit that sub button, come back for the next one, smash the like button if you like what you see, and we'll do some more videos if you like this kind of review stuff in the future. You know, I really think if somebody's kind of thinking about going out and buying this machine, maybe somebody that sat on it for, you know, a year or so and kind of rode it in all kinds of terrain, they might want to get their opinion. So, good machine overall. I give it a really good high rating for what it does, you know, for what I want it to do. It hasn't let me down. So, all right, guys, appreciate it. Take care.